Alright. Hello, everybody. This is Sora Donald Goofy 99. Actually, I had to search up a different list here. Anyway, I started the intro by saying I started to get back into Shaolin Showdown kind of as more of a phase thing. Oh, wait. Yeah, sometimes I get into phases of liking things and not liking things, and I just want to do things just because I feel like it. Alright. And while we're doing this, I'm just going to make a few adjustments here. Make sure it's what I want. All right, close that. F. Now I'm a little bit particular about this, so we're gonna while I'm setting this up, and B should be yellow by that logic. Yeah, that's yellow. Honestly, Shaolin Showdown was something I just really liked when I was growing up. Honestly, yeah, really cool show. It was really fun. There's so many, and I did like the characters. I did like pretty much every character in it. I loved the villains like Jack Spicer and Chase. Wuyo was okay. A bunch of the other side villains were kind of neat. My favorite villain was Mala Mala Jong, though. My favorite monk was actually Clay. I don't know why I wouldn't say I resonated with him exactly, but he was definitely just one of my favorites just because. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, um, there's just one more row I want to make. I'm gonna make this like I guess that color. Not Shen Gong Wu, because there's a few things that immediately just belong to like just the monk specifically. Which okay, let's see. Big Bang Meteorang, Blade of the Nebula, Cat's Eye Draco, Arrow Sparrows. I mean, they're like a subdivision of the Shen Gong Wu. And we're not here to talk about like the Wu Dai weapons, we're here to talk about the Shen Gong Wu themselves. I don't think I'm let's see, is there let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's at least one more. Oh yeah. We'll just move this one over here. These are just like the Wu Dai weapons that the Shaolin monks just like basically have to earn. They're Shen Gong Wu made only for them. That's not what I'm gonna rate today. Everything else is like something that can just be used by everybody in general. And normally I'd like to go in like Shen Gong Wu revealed order, but like I did with the Ben 10 video where I did every alien in the order they like debuted on TV. As far as I could remember, but I think we're just gonna go alphabetically and work our way from there here. The Shen Gong Wu were made by Grandmaster Dashi to defeat the evil Heilin Witch Wuya and then seal her away in a puzzle box. And these are pretty much just these all have different powers, and some of them made me wonder why Dashi even made them the way that they did, or if they just turned out that way over time. I don't know. Really, I mean, I even went over all of them real quickly just to make sure I knew what they all were and basically what they did, just real quick. Let's see. I mean, if I get lost, I have a list here to kind of say, oh, that's what that one does. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna do ants in the pants first. It's just a Shengongu that summons a bunch of ants, and yes, they do hop into people's pants, make them really itchy, and just massively inconveniences people. While I don't see this causing a heck of a lot of problems, I think this is at least D tier. Actually, maybe C. It's like pretty average. It's not super destructive. It doesn't cause a lot of damage. F is just Shengongu that are just pure and utter useless. I doubt anything will come down here. E, maybe like one really good use. That's it. D, I don't know. Maybe I just don't like it that much. I mean, I do notice that my tier lists are like pretty top heavy, but I at least try not to, you know, I at least try to be fair when I'm rating everything, or at least fair to my opinions. Now, the Black Beetle, this just like covers you in lava-proof armor. I don't think this really does anything else. Did the Black Beetle like black body armor? Oh, also as a raft. Okay, I think that at least puts it above the ants in the pants then. It's more of a utility Shen Gong Wu. It's not really much of an offensive use. I mean, the armor could help protect you from some attacks as well, maybe that aren't just lava. I just wanted to be sure I remembered it actually being used as a raft because I knew you could like, cover yourself in the lava armor. Plus, Black Beetle's pretty good. Cannon Blaster, it just lets you shoot yourself as a cannonball. And while it's strong, it absorbs you into it. You can't like really aim it without saying it. There's like a little bit of a delay on the fire. So if your opponent hears you yelling Cannon Blaster to activate it and then you shoot yourself at them, you know, you could miss. It could now it has been used like pretty decent effect in the show. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just trying to think, okay, this is actually pretty good. It's like good-ish, but it's not like above average to me, I guess. C is like, you know, average. It has its uses. Anything B through S is probably going to have a form of combat use that I think is really good, but you know, D and below it's a little bit situational. You may only use it like once or twice for like just random side things. Now, the changing chopsticks I think is at least a B. Not only can you shrink yourself, you can shrink other things and other people. It shoots like a little energy beam out too. The chopsticks are nice. Now, at first, it seemed like you could only use it on yourself. Jack used it to good effect. Yeah, Jack was like Jack Spicer was like the primary user of these things. They were beyond good. They were at least above average. B feels right, where it's like, yes, it's above average. It has a bunch of uses. And technically, a combat use. I mean, imagine you could like make yourself grow inside of someone using the changing chopsticks and just blow them up from the inside too. You know, just kind of like pulling Ant Man, I guess. Which I don't remember if there was a dumb video about that or not, and there probably was. The Crouching Cougar, it's just a transportation Shen Gong Wu. You just ride in like a giant mechanical cougar and it can like take you through jungle brush and stuff, and that's really sweet, but I'm not sure if it's like programmed to fight anything or if it's just used for transport. I mean, I could see fighting a giant robot cougar is kind of a problem for some people, or a problem for a lot of people, unless you're like Chase Young or Hannibal Bean when he's actually somewhat sizable, but no, he's no Crouching Cougar's useful. Easily. I'm just trying to be a little bit more critical here. Okay, crystal glasses. You can see into the future. Immediate S tier. The only weakness is that the reversing mirror can make you see like a false future. Like it'll make you see a future that's not true, which I would think that it would make you see the past instead. But either way, it does have the one counter. I mean, if you have the reflexes to like predict your opponent, they essentially can never touch you. Although it would be really hard to look through clearly. You know, just like clearly. So if you're used to having as long as you're not used, what am I trying to say here? If you're used to having your vision scrambled, the the crystal lenses may not be a problem, but I don't know. I personally think it could be a teeny bit. It's like the only weaknesses I can see are the reversing mirror, and maybe you're gonna have a hard time seeing through it. That's about all I can think of. Denji Bunny, if I remember, it turns people into energy. Turns user into electricity. Just that by itself, I mean, I want to say E, like it only really has one use, and like a more conventional way to use it would be like to travel through someone's power lines and like sneak into their, you know, really big, like their base or their complex that way, as opposed to, trying to, go through security cameras and stealth. You can just use the electric wiring and just pop yourself back out when you're inside. So I see the Denshi Bunny is very useful in that way. Like it is not useless. And using the Denshi Bunny, Omi and Hannibal Bean turned themselves into like giant avatar beings. But why? That's not something you would always want to do like all the time. And plus, it was another machine that a bunch of zombie jacks had to make for Hannibal. Season 3 was like the weirdest season of the show. Do I think it's good though? I mean, now that I say giant avatar beings, plus it is cuter than a cannon blaster. We'll just put it on top of the cannon blaster in D. Actually, no. Okay, I guess it's top of C tier for now. I'm just constantly coming up with ways to make it work in my head. Alright. The Eagle Scope, it just lets you see things really far away by itself. If it's with the Fountain of We, it basically gives you access to infinite knowledge. But I think to be fair, we should rate it by itself. Uh, it just lets you see really far by itself. So, far as that, boom, C tier. Really doesn't have a drawback other than it can't be used for anything. Emperor Scorpion just controls every Shen Gong Wu. And if y'all know what Mala Mala Zhong is, actually, Emperor Scorpion could control the crystal glasses too, so we'll put the Emperor Scorpion on top of that. Yeah, Mala Mala Zhong, man. Just lets you control a Shen Gong Wu demon. Which then you just have the ability to use everything else depending on if Mala Mala Zhong has them on it, or you take control of your opponent Shen Gong Wu before they're used. That's it. You're done. That's it. You're done, man. You're done. Emperor Scorpion's busted. Okay, Ayadashi shoots lightning. I think that's at least A tier. It's like a practically limitless supply of energy too. You can actually use it to power up machines as well. And it's wearable like a necklace. It's not bad. We don't have any issues with that. The Falcon's Eye, it definitely goes above the Eagle Scope because this thing has X-ray vision. It doesn't just let you see far. And I'd slap that into B tier. Plus this thing is really compact. It's like hardly ever a problem. You just really need to. I think they said that the Falcon's Eye is better if you can focus with it, but other than that, it's not that. Okay, Fancy Feet. S tier lets you move super freaking fast. And I love super speed. It's just they're not sponsored by anything showing up on the sides here, by the way. They're just here. But yeah, the Fancy Feet. Zoom, 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 zoom. It's just I'm fucking fast, boy. As like actual speed. That's really all that is. Fist of Tabigong lets you hit hard as hell. And it can also be a lightning rod, technically. So it's one of my personal favorites, just straight up because it hits like a freaking truck. Or possibly even harder than a truck, to be honest. I mean, Clay just flat out shattered a whole entire mountain just to hit one guy with that thing. It becomes Clay's like signature woo after he discovers how to enhance his Shen Gong Wu with the power of Earth. There's really nothing wrong with it. The Fist of Tabigong is really cool. Fountain of Wii, which again by itself would would just give you random knowledge that you may or may not potentially be able to use. By itself, I'd say Fountain of Wii is F tier. There's like really no way to use this thing constructively unless you have the Eagle Scope here. This this thing, yeah, use them together. You can find any single piece of knowledge that you want, and you'd basically be all-knowing just by having those two Shen Gong Wu. Made me wonder how smart Dashi actually was if he was able to figure out a way to make these things work. He probably had to use both of them to make the puzzle box to seal Wuya. Like, okay, this is how I make a puzzle box to seal Wuya? Boom. Alright, we're good. And the Guilds of Hamachi, I want to say top of D, because there is no way that this thing is bad, really. Actually, now that I'm saying that, if I'm saying that, it should probably be C. All it does is turn you into a fish person and you can breathe underwater. That's all it does. But they're still good. I really have no issue with the Guilds of Hamachi. They're neat. Glovaji Saku, let's see. It's basically a magnet that attracts Shen Gong Wu. I've never seen it attract anything that's not Shen Gong Wu, so the Glove of Jizaku is going in E. Again, that's not because I hate it. I don't think I really hate any of these specifically. Glove of Jizaku, though, it only can like grab Shen Gong Wu, and the Emperor Scorpion could probably. Okay, Emperor Scorpion controlling Glove of Jizaku, and Glove of Jizaku can like magnetize the Emperor Scorpion. I mean, they'd probably get into a vicious cycle matchup wise, but otherwise not bad. They're both neat. Okay, Golden Finger is probably just up to S tier. Its power is that I can stop time for, let's see, how long? Like 3 to 5 seconds, I think. So it's basically Zawaldo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Like, that's it. I mean, it doesn't come with the world's, strength and speed and all that. It's just stopping time, but that power by itself is beyond incredible. I didn't really think that highly of it as a kid either. I just thought, wait, why would you just like the only hindrance I can see with it is that if you're using it in a fight, you won't be able to use the hand you put it on really, except just to poke somebody really hard. Or to Fist of Tabigong is just better in that regard, but I mean, the Golden Finger is just really good. It just allows you to stop time for a while. Golden Tiger Claws just allows you to teleport anywhere you want to go. No, I like the Tiger Claws better than the Crystal Glasses, so we're just going to put it on top of that. I mean, they introduced it so early on in the show. In the next episode, they had to basically just throw it into the. All they had to do was throw it into the Earth's core for like most of season one. I mean, season two and season three they used it pretty regularly, but in season one it's like, oh wait, we can't just have teleportation just always there. I'm starting to debate putting the Emperor Scorpion in like its own godly tier, like I did with Alien X, but it is pretty counterable by the Glove of Jisaku, so I don't think it's necessarily just godly by itself, but there you go. Alright, the Heart of Jong. Alright. It basically gives life to anything that doesn't have it. And without this, you can't make Mala Mala Jong. I mean, The Heart of John brought Snow to life. Made it a like German yodeling snowman guy that basically took over the world for an episode. Jack used it to power up a dude bot. Just made him feel good and fought the Shaolin monks for him. I don't know. D feels low. And plus, this thing brings Mala Mala Jong and the Fearsome Four to life. Oh my gosh. Where should I put this darn thing? I guess we'll just put it on the top of B. I mean, this thing can do a lot. It's just the only problem is you can't guarantee that the thing that's turned to life with the Heart of Jong is actually going to work with you. It's going to develop its own feelings and emotions and independence. But I still feel like it's way better than average. I mean, especially if you get whatever the construct is to work with you or whoever else you're trying to get it to work for. It's just, I think the Heart of Jong's alright. The Helmet of Jong, it was only used once in like some point in the middle of season 2, I think. It gives you access to 360-degree vision, which is not bad, but it's not like you have it all at once, or that's my interpretation of it. You turn the helmet and it shows you like vision from that angle. I mean, if it was like 360 degrees all at once, that might be a mental overload, I guess. But you also have to turn the helmet around to get where you need it to go. It's kind of the same problem I have with the cannon blaster. I mean, the helmet of Jong just looks really freaking sick, though. It's Mala Mala Jong's default head, too. I mean, while I don't think it's like a terrible Shen Gong Wu like with the cannon blaster, like I can't justify either one of those as a terrible Shen Gong Wu. I just think there are a lot better cases. The Hodoku mouse just lets people fix mistakes that they've made. Oh boy. Now this is like the closest like a god Shen Gong Wu I can think of. Debating whether or not it should be above the Emperor Scorpion or not. But the Emperor Scorpion can only affect Shen Gong Wu, which in the Shaolin Showdown universe is, all of these are like the most powerful objects on the entire planet. The Hodoku mouse just lets you fix any mistake. Bro, you'd be dumb not to use it. It's so useful and good. There's so many use cases for it. Immediately, just 10 out of 10 Shen Gong Wu. Of course, I think it was only used like the one time. Plus, imagine if you could like undo mistakes that you made in the past, and like that alters the whole timeline, and you can just keep using the Hodoku mouse to give yourself the perfect timeline that you want for yourself. Yeah, Hodoku mouse over Emperor Scorpion, even though the Emperor Scorpion could probably shut the Hodoku mouse down. It's like this. This is just the immediate screw you counter to like all of these. You know, there's like no reason not to have the Emperor Scorpion. The Jet Butsu, they let you fly, walk up and down walls. They describe it as the Jet Butsu as the ability to defy gravity. Oh, it's better than C tier. I want to at least put that over to Falcon's Eye just because I do like the design of the Jet Butsu. They look a lot like Jack's shoes, and everything about Jack Spicer's look I just love. I don't even mind his girly screams. Jack Spicer just adds so much humor to the show for me. Just just funny comedic villain, and these are like his signature shoes almost. It's immediately one of the best things ever. Juju Flytrap. Basically like the ants in the pants, but you can make the bugs like just fly pretty much anywhere you need them to be. I don't want to say A, but I will. I guess bottom of B, just because I like how it looks and I like the name Juju Flytrap. It's basically the ants in the pants, but with a slight upgrade on functionality. That's all I can really think of. I mean, I like how it looks. I never really had an issue with it being used on screen, but the Juju Flytrap is neat. Okay, Kazuzu Atom shoots a ray that vaporizes anything it touches. Let's see. Yeah, Crystal Glasses and Kazuzu Atom are kind of on the same level for me, at least just in terms of functionality alone. So I guess we'll drop it here. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It just shoots a vaporizing. It just shoots a vaporization ray. That's all it does, and yet it's that good. Lasso Boa Boa. It's basically just a cowboy rope that squeezes harder than a normal rope. I mean, if you're good at trick rope like Clay is, it's like A tier, if not maybe B. Uh, you got to be good with using a rope in order to make this thing like good. But assuming you know how to like rope people up, I would say A. I don't see any problems with it. It's definitely not one of my all-time favorite Shen Gong Wu, although I do like how it looks. I think when Booya took over Raymundo's body, that thing was just wrapped all the way around his arms. That was fine. Longy kite. When it's strapped to people's backs, it allows them to fly. Just A tier Shen Gong Wu. I wouldn't call it S tier because it has no offensive capability. Just a really good support Shen Gong Wu. That's all there is to it. And from the few times it has been used, it's great. It can even lift a 2-ton tunic if you're also wearing that. We'll get to that one later. And Lotus Twister basically turns you into Mr. Fantastic. I don't want to say Plastic Man because it doesn't let you shapeshift your body. That's a different Shen Gong Wu. I feel the Lotus Twister is top of C tier. If you don't know how to control the rubbery limbs, you could, just trip yourself over. Kimiko made a mistake with that in the Sabini episode. But Jack was so good with it, he was able to turn himself into a slingshot in one of the showdowns. Not a bad Shen Gong Wu, but I don't think it's like super, super fantastic either. Lunar Locket. It lets you control the moon. That's all there is to it. It lets you like control the phases of the moon too, but it also physically can move the moon. Which I'd be going Majora's Mask on people if I could use the moon without destroying a planet. Um, but other than doing that to kill somebody, I mean, yeah, you'd be able to control the tides of the planets, actually, so. It's not that I hate this thing. I mean, when it was used in its debut episode, it was able to basically also control the moon so that it always blocked the sun and it was like an eternal winter. Actually, he was able to make the moon almost slam into Omi too, from what I remember, without wrecking the entire planet. But real life science doesn't support that. And just think if you're bringing the lunar locket into real life, You don't want to slam the moon on something unless you actually want to kill everyone on Earth. Oh my gosh. I thought I was going to drop it in D because, yeah, it's really strong but at a massive cost. But in the science of the Shaolin Showdown universe, apparently bringing the moon down on someone or nearly super close to someone is not going to ruin the planet or kill the person, inherently, apparently, which is wrong, but I think it at least warrants B then, if that's the case. Because if I'm rating it in, I'm also trying to like rate it in the context of the Shaolin Showdown universe in combination with what I think is great and cool. It's like a really silly balance with this one. This is one I have a really hard time placing, but I'd place it in like anywhere between B or D if it were up to me. I'll just say high ball, it's up there. It's the Manchurian Muska, which turns you into a fly, but the weakness of it is you're like obsessed with sugar. Basically, like, uh, yeah, yeah, the Manchurian Muska's not bad. I, it's at least average for me. It's not one that I'm like super attached to, but I do get how it could be used. There's really nothing wrong with it in that case. There's like nothing wrong with it. It has functions. Yeah, that's about C. Mantis flip coin. They say it isn't much in the show. I mean, personally, myself, I would love to have the ability to leap like the Shaolin monks do. I think the Mantis flip coin at least qualifies as B. The agility alone is super, super useful in a fight, or just for getting around places. I don't think this thing necessarily has any drawbacks either. I mean, a lot of the time when people use it, they flip it like a coin, catch it, and then they start moving. So if you have to flip the coin and catch it to start leaping, there's obviously a startup, but I think they just do that for effect. If you just say Mantis flip coin, you'll probably just be able to move normally and just leap around like a fool anyway, so it's probably just fine. So yeah, Mantis flip coin and B I think makes sense. Mikado arm, which is basically a straight upgrade to the Fist of Tepigong. It allows you to have super strength throughout your arms. Or this should be the Mikado arm. This was like the last Shen Gong Wu I think they revealed, but that's the only Shen Gong Wu I needed. And I love super strength and super strong characters and powers, so we'll just put that up in S just because I love it. Mind Reader Conch, okay, Mind Reader Conch is an immediate A tier. It allows you to read people's thoughts, and through with what Kimiko showed, combining it with the chopsticks and her PDA, she could just read people's thoughts whenever, just from all around the planet, essentially. So it's basically just with augmentations, it could be like the Cerebro system in X-Men. Otherwise, it's good to just read your opponent's mind in the middle of a fight. And hell, that even helped Kimiko beat Chase and Hannibal by herself. And the Mind Reader Conch basically allowed her to beat Raimundo, Clay, and Omi, excuse me, by themselves. So, boom, Shen Gong Wu, Mind Reader Conch is immediate A tier. Moby Morpher allows you to shapeshift into anyone. I don't think it lets you copy their abilities though. But from what's happening with Hannibal, it also allows you to alter your own physiology, give yourself extra arms and legs, and shapeshift yourself into anyone or anything you want to be. But you're probably not going to be able to copy their memories or really deeply ingrained skills. Um, I mean, he was able to fool the others into thinking that he was Clay for the longest time, and only Chase knew it was Hannibal. Was Hannibal? Hannibal had this through like most, if not all, of season 3 until like right at the end. Moby Morpher is so good. I actually don't know where to put this dumb thing. What do I guess it comes. Actually, we'll put this above the longy kite because maybe you can like grow yourself a pair of wings and still be able to shapeshift yourself to do whatever. So we'll just put the Moby Morpher above the longy kite. Oh, the Monarch wings. I don't think you can rate this without rating the mosaic scale. As far as I could guess, the mosaic scale and the Monarch wings are probably just both F tier because all they're good for is the mosaic scale is just good for keeping Sabini trapped inside of it. He's a demon that can like possess people, and the Monarch wings are just basically supposed to give Sabini infinite, or maybe not infinite, but just they make him nigh unstoppable in the context of the show. So I mean, if they don't help other people, there's really no other purpose to them. So yeah, if it's only good for one person and not for anyone else, that just makes it F tier immediately. The monkey staff, I'm not in love with this thing, but I understand why Jack likes it so much. The downside is the longer you're holding the monkey staff, the more monkey-like you become. So if you're holding it for too long, you're just straight up turned into a monkey. Oh, whoops. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I kind of prefer like the bug or the fish shape shifting more than the monkey one. Not even that the monkey staff is terrible. It is not. It's just I just don't like it as much as the Gills of Hamachi or the Manchurian Muska. I mean, but you can also use it in combat, so like as an actual bow staff. So I guess we could pop it over to Gills of Hamachi. It's okay. You don't even need to turn it on to use it that way. All right, now the monsoon sandals just make your legs super stretchy. They just make your legs really long, and that's it. And it does it so fast that it gave Jack a nosebleed. D tier, I really can't see like a ton of uses for it. Actually, in that case, we'll just drop it down to E. Not a fan of the monsoon sandals, guys. The Moonstone Locust is basically just a Juju flytrap, except that it can also eat the Halen seed. It's basically the same thing as the Juju flytrap, I think. It's just that Dashi had to make a specific version just to deal with the Halen seed. Oh, if only the Juju flytrap worked in this way. Well, boom, here you go, Moonstone Locust. Um, yeah, we'll call that good. The Orb of Tornami, basically just Omi conjuring up water constantly. I mean, very few other people actually got to use this. This thing was always in Omi's possession. And he could also use it to shoot ice at people, but I think only Omi can do that because he's always saying Orb of Tornami ice or something like that to make that work. Plus, it can cause massive floods. Well, that's the case. Let's see. I want to say top of A because it's just not one of my favorite designs. It's literally just an orb. If there's anything Shaolin Chronicles did well, it's that the Orb of Torpedo actually has like a really good, like it actually has more effort in the design at least than just ball. And that's why I'm fine with the Orb of Tornami. It's just A because I wish it had more to it in the design department. And a reversing mirror reverses the effects of any Shen Gong Wu and even non-Shen Gong Wu attacks. It can like actually reflect back, light beams. It's not just good against Shen Gong Wu. It can also be used for other things. It just like reverses their powers. Possibly even counter the Emperor Scorpion and Hadoku Mouse. Well, I fixed a mistake. Well, you made the mistake again. Here, I control every Shen Gong Wu. You control no Shen Gong Wu. I can see the future. I'm giving you a false future. Golden Tiger Claws. Let's teleport here. You don't. You teleport to the opposite of that location, maybe. Super slow. Your energy ray just doesn't work. You accelerate time instead of freeze it, maybe. Just makes you overall weaker. The water is not useful against you. You read your own mind. You just don't get the shape shifts. You can't fly anymore. It actually makes it really heavy, like the lightning bolts. Instead of a bone crushing rope, it's like a fluffy rope, I guess. Stop hitting yourself. Reverse. I'm not sure if the reversing mirror could fucking stop the heart of Zhang. That'd be interesting. I'm gonna bounce the moon back where it's supposed to be. Actually, the changing chopsticks and the reversing mirror could still help, because then you're just making. They could be used in combination with each other to make it so that you're just growing big. So those two can actually work together in for like a different way. I think it actually shut the Gilza Hamachi off just straight up. So it'd probably do a similar thing with the monkey staff or the Manchurian Muska. The bugs are turned back on your opponent. You can't see anything. You can't leap anymore. The boots just trap you to the ground, maybe. You're just stiff. You're antimatter, which would flat out kill somebody. Bounce a cannonball away, it just makes you blind. I'm not sure what the reversing mirror would do to these. Fountain of Weed just makes you dumber, I guess. You become nearsighted. I'm just like throwing a whole bunch of powers out there here, but reversing mirror is just a basic Uno reverse card to like every single other Shen Gong Wu except the changing chopsticks, I guess. So matchup wise, really changing chopsticks, you're actually kind of helping your opponent if they choose to use that on you. Unless you bounce to shrink right back at them, but then you're just making them grow, but at least you're saying, well, at least I'm not shrinking anymore. Reversing mirror is nice. I don't see how it isn't S tier. Ring of the Nine Dragons. Definitely a D tier Shengang Wu, but actually we'll put that over to Helmet of John. You can split yourself up to 9 times, but it splits your personality among each of the other clones that you make. So the more divided you are, the less effective each clone is. Except if you're Mala Mala Jong, then you become the fearsome boar and you get to end the world. Unless somebody takes the Emperor Scorpion and just takes control over all of the things that you have on you and junk. My god. That's one of my favorite scenes in the show when Jack gets to control Mala Mala Jong. I don't want to spoil the scene, but it is really, really funny. Ring of the Nine Dragons, the multiplication by itself is okay. It didn't really hurt Jack that much, though. It actually made Jack a little bit more effective. The Rio Reverso, it turns things back to their original form. And anything that can create dinosaurs is, well, at least to me, A tier. Just don't blast a chicken with it. You will not get the answers to if the chicken or the egg came first. Okay, Rio Reverso is up in A purely because I just think it's a really cool Shen Gong Wu. Plus, the Rio Reverso is what I call the Uno reverse card sometimes. And that's just a me thing. Ruby Ramses gives you the power of telekinesis. That at least warrants A. At least above the Lasso Boa Boa, if you ask me. I just don't think it's as cool as the Eye of Dachi. Ruby Ramses is cool, though. Okay. The Sands of Time lets you travel through time, which I think immediately ranks it above the Crystal Glasses. Do I? Whoa, okay. Now we'll put it below the Emperor Scorpion. That makes sense to me. Sands of time! Just get to go to whatever time period you want, bring other people back through time with you. They actually have to lock it away in the future throughout most of the show. This, next to the Golden Tiger Claws and the Reversing Mirror and the Emperor Scorpion, probably even the Hadoku Mouse, just he's got to be like the top five, and kind of be divided here, or like the top five best Shen Gong Wu in the show, easily. The Sapphire Dragon. Okay, the Shen Gong Wu just does what it wants. It will not listen to its owner. So in terms of like a usage aspect, here, but in terms of what it actually does, turns people into sapphire statues, makes them work as its slaves. This thing could take over the world by itself if it wanted to, and it really wanted to both the times it appeared in the show. So the Sapphire Dragon is actually an incredibly strong Shen Gong Wu. It's just in terms of like user friendliness, it's definitely just F tier for that alone. Fountain of Wii is like not guaranteed to do anything, and these two only work for one person. I don't know why. I don't know what to say about this. Serpent's Tail lets you fly really quickly and also gives you access to intangibility at the same time. I don't want to say S. Oh, we'll put it above the Longy Kite. I don't know how high this thing can basically allow you to fly, but it will allow you to fly and go through whatever objects you want to go through. So, just don't get the reversing mirror and the serpent's tail around Wuya. That'll cause the end of the world. But just the serpent's tail by itself, really neat. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Shadow of Fear. You get to see your enemy's worst fear and control them, which both Hannibal and Jack use to really good effects. It's at least an A tier Shen Gong Wu. Well, probably B, actually. Because if your opponent isn't afraid of their fear or you help them conquer their fear, it's not as useful anymore. But it's definitely really, really good. Jack was able to like turn all of the hero's worst fears against them, fighting a crazy looking doll, the giant monster squirrel, Clay's grandma, and a jellyfish, if I remember right. Shadow of Fear is nice. Shadow Slicer. Wait. Shadow Slicer. If I remember right, that thing makes an image, like a false image of yourself to fool your opponent. Where'd it go? Shadow Slicer. Hologram copies. Okay. Yep. Hologram copies. It's like a good diversionary tool, essentially. Like, um, Total Recall of Schwarzenegger. I think he had a projector that did something like that with him in that flick. Uh, I'm gonna put that below the Gills of Hamachi. I mean, it has no offensive purpose, but it is a really good diversionary tactic. But, whoops. Man, I don't need to go back there. Okay, Shard of Lightning. Like the first of the season 2 Shen Gong Wu. It lets you move super duper quick in as long as it takes a bolt of lightning to hit something. So basically, as fast as light speeds, only as long as a lightning bolt would just like work, essentially. Um, You do have to be holding it though, and you can take someone else with you, so at least two people can use it at once. Pretty effective. Although I think the golden finger would probably be, in general, be slightly better than the shard of lightning. Even though I see them in kind of the same usage cases between each other. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. The shard of lightning is just really, really good. The shroud of shadows makes you invisible as long as you can cover yourself in it completely, which if you're too big to use it, then you're too big to use it. Um, it does have a really slick design though. It's just if you're too big to use it, you just can't use it. That's really the only downside to it. Which, depending on how big you are, yeah, the silk spitter just turns you into Spider-Man essentially. Just allows you to shoot silk at people, like web sling and junk like that. Like I'd honestly put that above the Mantis flip coin because not only do you get the agility of a spider, you also get the beep, 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 beep. You just get the web shooting aspect. The silk spitter is really good. Silver Manta Ray, it's a jet and a submarine all in one, and that immediately makes it S tier just for being the perfect mode of transportation in the show. The only thing it can't do is go underground. And that's all I gotta say about that one. The Spear of Yun creates a shield that can trap someone inside of it. You could also probably protect yourself with it, and the user inherits the power of the person trapped in the sphere. Okay, just considering how it made Jack able to control Chase's army of big kitties, this thing just busted, man. Sphere of Yun's too good. Star Hanabi, Star Hanabi just shoots fire, and it can be thrown like a shuriken that's lit on fire. I'm just putting in an A just because I think it's really cool. And it's the Lone Star of Texas. So sorry, Texans. I just think the orb is slightly better, at least overall. The Sun Chi Lantern was only used once, but it basically allowed someone to absorb other people's powers to power themselves up temporarily. Well, it depends on how many other people are there, but yeah, it's a solid C tier Shen Gong Wu, I think. Sweet baby among us just makes a giant baby that listens to you and shoots diapers, and it's really big and strong. But it also cries a lot like a baby, and I find that annoying. Um, just because it annoys me slightly, so C tier. Sword of the Storm allows you to control the wind. If I can actually grab it, there we go. Control the wind, but you can't use it like a normal sword, which knocks it down a few points to me. Like, if you could use this thing like a normal sword, it would at least be A tier for me. Because you can't, or because it can't. Yeah, we'll put it above the chopsticks because this thing just looks fucking cool, man. I love the Sword of the Storm. In terms of design, it's like one of the coolest looking Shen Gong Wu. But what gets me is that it makes you unable to touch your opponent. You have to like just shoot wind at people, and I mean, yeah, that's fine, but I just want to be able to use the thing like a sword once in a while, you know? Okay, Tangle Webcomb is just a weaker Silk Spitter. And if you're not focused, it actually turns back and hits you. So I'm actually going to put it below the Shadow Slicer, but better than the Cannon Blaster, I guess. If you have no focus, this thing is not going to help you at all. That's like the only reason I'm putting that a little bit lower. Third arms, believe it or not, the third arm sash is my absolute favorite Shen Gong Wu. However, I cannot justifiably put it above the Hodoku Mouse. So we'll put the third arm sash here. I mean, all it really does is give you an elastic third arm you can control with your own mind freely. It's the best Shen Gong Wu for scratching your back. I don't know, maybe the monkey staff works for that too, but apparently I don't think being a monkey is as cool as having an extra limb. I mean, the tail is technically an extra arm, but whatever. The third arm sash is just better for me in every aspect than the monkey staff is, I guess. So if I'm getting one, my favorite Shen Gong Wu in S tier, for me, it's the third arm sash. The Thorn to Thunderbolts, it's just a slightly more useful Eye of Dashi, so we'll just put it there, I guess. Tongue Side Ping lets you command and talk to animals, and if used with the monkey staff, allows you to control a really big army of green monkeys on the Year of the Green Monkey. You don't have to be an animal to like talk to or control the animals. Apparently, Jack had this for a while in season 2. He just didn't really use it all that much. Well, just because I think the Sun Chi Lantern is cooler than the Tongue of Sai Ping, we'll just put it there. It's not useful in every situation because there's not always going to be an animal around to help you. Okay, Tunnel Armadillo just gives you a giant thing to use to dig underground, and that's kind of it. But I also really like how it looks. Oh my gosh. We'll put it. We'll put it below the Shadow of Fear. I just like how it looks, and it basically just allows you to dig. Jack didn't even need this thing. He already had a drill device. So he could have just lost this thing whenever and just have been fine. The 2-ton tunic just is a big armor suit that allows you to absorb hits like no tomorrow. Even from the Fist of Tebigong. And probably the Mikado arm as well. Realistically, I mean, although I remember Vlad just ripping this thing off of Kimiko like it was nothing. It was kind of funny. Like, well, bro, you're just taking the fucking tunic off her like that? Dude. Actually, maybe it's not A tier for me at least. Well, no, it's not as cool as the Sword of the Storm. I do like the 2-ton tunic more than the Mantis flip coin, so I guess we'll just drop it below the Silk Spitter. Now, the Wings of Tanabe. I said the Wings of Tanabe. It's like the Longi Kite in the Jet Butsu where you can fly with it, but you also cannot really control where you're going. The Shen Gong Wu itself decides where it's going to go. But it also has a rainbow trail behind it. I guess we'll put it above the Heart of Jong and B. I mean, there are uses for it if you don't have the Longi Kite, but this thing came after the Longi Kite. And fun fact, Dojo actually teased this Shen Gong Wu in the Owuya part of the show in the end of season 1 and the start of season 2. And it was in a well, just like he said it was. Wings of Tanabe are alright. The Woozy Shooter. It shoots a purple gust, like this purple cloud at your opponents. And when they're caught in it, they go on a trip, to say the least. And because of how great it is, Woozy Shooter is going into A tier. I absolutely love this thing. I love the Woozy Shooter. It's so cool. The Wushan Geyser is essentially just a neuralizer from the Men in Black. It erases the memories of people exposed to it. I mean, it even has like a pair of glasses that come down and shields your vision so you don't get caught up in the explosion from this thing. I mean, and it can knock out a whole ton of time too. I mean, I don't know how to use or decides how much time is knocked out, but it's gotta be at least up here in A. I mean, even though it's only stuck to your head, but whatever. The Wushan Geyser is really cool. Wushu Helmet, however, and neither of the helmet Shen Gong Wu are that great. It's supposed to give you a harder head, or at least make your head harder, or harder makes it. It's like the 2-ton tunic for your head, supposedly, but it doesn't really work as well as the 2-ton tunic. So I'm just putting it below the helmet of Zhong because the helmet of Zhong looks cooler, at least. The Yin and Yang Yo-Yo just do the same things. They both allow you to go into the Yin Yang world and to go back out of it. But when you come back out and you don't have both yo-yos, if you're good, you become evil, and if you're evil, you become good. Which would make me think like a neutral person wouldn't really be affected at all if they only had one. Like they're not really feeling strongly towards good or evil. They're just like, oh, nice place I can escape to sometimes. So it's like an escape to a pocket dimension, but with a small caveat. Like the Yin Yang world also had a chi creature trapped in it that was trying to make sure all the chi in the yin yang world was in balance. It didn't really care what happened to the people it was going after to get the chi back from. So you could also mess with the chi creature and maybe not know it if you don't know about it. But the escape to the pocket dimension thing is really cool if you actually have both of them. So just for that alone, I mean, for the pocket dimension aspect alone, they're both going to go in S. I think the Yin Yo-Yo is the black one and the Yang Yo-Yo is the white one, but I'll double check right now. Oh, Yang is white, Ying is black. Okay. And finally, the Zing Bone allows you to create and control zombie slaves. This thing is my gosh. Really no drawback to this thing. Yeah. Put the Zing Bone in S. I actually really like it. And I think this will be our tier list for the Shen Gong Wu today, guys. The S tier has the most items in it. Like, yeah. Wow. I cannot make a tier list without just singing the praises of everything and really not hating on the things that I really, not really hating on the things that I really think are issues. It's just, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of the Cannon Blaster. This thing's only good at attracting Shen Gong Wu, and while they're the most prominent item in the series, they're not really good for anything else. Actually, I kind of want to re-rank the Glove of Jisaku now. We'll drop it. Yeah, right about there. I think it's a little bit more fair. Monsoon sandals, they at least have a use, but I think they're not very useful, just in general. Okay, just to re-review the tier lists, we have the Hodoku Mouse, Emperor Scorpion, Sands of Time, Reversing Mirror, Third Arm Sash, Golden Tiger Claws, Crystal Glasses, Spear of Yun, Kazusu Atom, Fancy Feet, Golden Finger, Groovy Baby, Shard of Lightning, Mikado Arm, Zing Zong Bone, the Silver Manta Ray, both the Yang and Ying Yo-Yos in S tier. The A tier, the Orb of Tornami, Star Hanabi, Woozy Shooter, Mind Reader Conch, Moby Morpher, Wushan Geyser, Serpent's Tail, Longi Kite, Thorn of Thunderbolt, Eye of Dashi, Ruby of Ramses, Lasso Boa Boa, the Fist of Tebigong, and the Rio Reverso in A. B. The Wings of Tanabe, the Heart of Jong, the Lunar Locket, the Sword of the Storm, Changing Chopsticks, Shadow of Fear, Tunnel Armadillo, Jet Butsu, Silk Spitter, Two-Ton Tunic, Mantis Flip Coin, Falcon's Eye, the Moonstone Locust, the Juju Flytrap, and the Shroud of Shadows. C. Sweet Baby Among Us, Lotus Twister, Denshi Bunny, Crouching Cougar, Black Beetle, Sunshi Lantern, Glove of Jisaku, and I will leave it there, Tongue of Saiping, Manchurian Muska, the Eagle Scope, Ants in the Pants, Monkey Staff, Gills of Hamachi, Shadow Slicer, and the Tangle Webcomb. D tier, Cannon Blaster, Ring of the Nine Dragons, Helmet of Jong, and the Wushu Helmet. E, just the Monsoon Sandals. F tier, Sapphire Dragon, Fountain of Wii, Monarch Wings, and the Mosaic Scale. And these are all the weapons that only work for the 4 Shaolin monks that I am not rating just for the sake of rating everything that anyone can potentially use. Alright, that'll be it for today. I will see you next time for whatever. Peace out.